Hey everyone! Today I wanted to talk to you about bamboo knitting needles. As you can see, I have a variety of knitting needles laid out here, and yeah, there are a lot of different kinds, and so I just figured we would talk about them a little bit. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the first set of needles I want to show you, I actually got these from Amazon. Actually, my husband bought them for me from Amazon. And I want to say this was at least 4 years ago. I feel like it was more, but I could be wrong. There are a variety of sizes, and I don't want to pull them out too much because it's very crinkly. But yeah, so you can see. Sorry, they're branded as Stanwood Crafting, which I actually looked on Amazon, which is where these came from. I looked on there to see if they still had them. It looks like that it's called Stanwood Needle Crafting now. And they actually, I could not find these exact same ones. These are light in color, and they do have some, but they are they're the carbonized ones, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a few minutes. But yeah, so they still have them, but they're not exactly the same. So anyway, so these are pretty. I really like these knitting needles. I do believe, because I had them in my wish list or whatever for a long time, and I think my husband was just, I don't know, he bought them for me, and they actually were really, really great. Now these are the 13-inch long knitting needles, and you can see these are marked with their sizes, which I don't know if that'll focus, but it's marked with both the millimeter sizing and the US size. I have found that these are pretty accurate. This particular brand are size accurate. There are some that are not, I'm sure, but I've not had any problems with these. I did check them just to make sure, but yeah. Now, you obviously can't feel them, but they're really smooth. They're not slick, but they're not rough at all. These were well sanded down. The tips are smooth, and they're pretty pointy. See, if I do that, you can see, can you see? Hang on, let's do this. So if I do that, I mean, you can see it leaves an indentation. So these are pretty pointy. Yeah, the smaller ones, which I should have got out of the package, but I'll just have to. They're pretty flexible. You can see there's a little bit of bend in them, so that means they will snap pretty easy, but I've not had any problems with that so far. But the very, very tiny ones, you might run into more of an issue of that with. But I don't use the really, really tiny ones for much, so I've not really had any problems. But these are really bendy, so you would definitely have to be careful. And even the small one, this is a 2.25 millimeter, a 1, which I probably won't focus, but it's very very thin, and so I wish that would focus. I don't know what's wrong. Getting distracted. So yeah, I think that well, there we go. So you can see it's a US 1, 2.25 millimeter, and I think they're pretty good, but you would have to definitely be careful with the teeny tiny ones. But I've used the 7s. Sorry, I've used the 7s and the 8s a lot. Those are pretty much the sizes that I use the most, I would say, and I've not really had any problem with them at all. Yeah, they came in a big, it's like an outside plastic package, and then they each came in this little carrying case. It has a hole at the top. Yeah, nothing fancy or anything like that, but it keeps them separated. I didn't do anything with these separately to store them because they are long, and I figured I'd just leave them like this, and then I just put them in a drawer, and that works out pretty well. So Yeah. Okay. And now I'm going to show you another set that I bought from Amazon. These I actually bought for myself, and I bought them earlier this year. And yeah, so I'll show you those in just a second. Okay, so I bought these. They're double pointed knitting needles, because you can see they have, you know, 2 points. And I got these. They were, these are the O-Start brand. Oh, did I mention the price on the other ones? The big long ones, the 13-inch ones. These I believe were $25. And then I did look, and they have the carbonized ones. They are $27 for this particular brand. But there are other brands. So yeah. Anyway, the double points. They came in a big package like this, and I'm sorry if it's crinkly. They came in a big old package like this, and I believe there were 15 different sizes. I could count it, but I believe that's what it was. And the price on those, I paid $14.48. I actually looked that one up. So yeah, so a pretty good price. However, right now these are on sale for like $8 something currently, as of right this moment. They'll probably change. These are the they don't have markings on them for the brands that they are, but they are the O-Start brand, O-S-T-A-R-T. And these are the carbonized ones, which I told you before that these stay in wood, like my single points. That's what they have now, is the carbonized, and you can see they are dark or darker. Can you see the difference between the two? I'm not actually 100% sure what that does, like what it, you know, how it works or whatever, but I know that these are a little slicker. Just as smooth, but like there's like almost like a gloss on them, or they've oiled them or something like that. Which you could do to the other ones if you wanted to, I'm sure. But they are a little darker, so you can tell they've been treated with something. Now these particular ones, the O-Start ones that I have, these, set that down. These are marked, but they are only marked in the millimeter size. They don't have the US size on there, so if that's something that you have to take into consideration, if you know, in case you don't, you know, have like a chart or something that you can easily remember. The engraving on them is really smooth, no problems there whatsoever. Really nice. They don't really catch or anything. Now, as for the tips and just the general smoothness, it's been great, except I had one. It's one of these larger sizes, I believe. It has a tiny snag on it. It had a tiny snag sort of near the tip where you can see like the, I guess I could get it out and show you, but where the grain in the bamboo was sort of, you can see how that is there. It was just not, I guess in the milling process or whatever, it just didn't get smooth. So what I did, and it's over there, but what I did was just, I guess you can't really see it now, but all it really takes is just a little sanding down, and it was fine. That was the only issue that I had, and I've used, I've not used all of the sizes, but I did check them all once I found that snag, so that's something that you'll have to keep in mind as well if you decide to get any of these. Oh, and for this, these other ones here, they are engraved as well. These actually have a more defined texture to them when you run your finger over them, over the engraving. It's not bad, and it's well done, so I've not had any problems with snagging, but also it's far back on the end of the knitting needle, so you know, you can see it's right here. So you know, that's something that you should take notice of, just in case that's a problem. I bought these are the 13-inch ones, but you know, normally I'm not knitting. My hand is usually here. I'm not usually knitting something super long with those, but every once in a while. But I've not had any problems with snagging, as I said. Now these come with 5 of each size. Some of the sets only have 4, but I like the 5th one because I sometimes lose them. They come in, this was how mine arrived. They come in these little clear plastic things, which are easily ripped, because like you can see, that was like that when I got it. And some of them had the white on the top and some of them were clear, but it was fine. Yeah, it's a pretty good deal, especially now. I mean, they're even cheaper than they are, or they were when I bought them. But, you know, knitting needles are good, and I really like, I like having all of the different sizes, because that's what I usually run into problems with, is I will have something and I'll be like, oh no, I can't find the right size. So, yeah. Okay, now the last knitting needles I'm going to talk about are the Clover brand knitting needles. Okay, so these are bamboo knitting needles from Clover. These are the Takumi, I believe is their line. You can see right here. Ooh, hello. You can see that they're engraved. Now these look dark. I do know that these look dark. They look like they're the carbonized things, but when I got them, they were actually light. But I've used them a lot, and I actually had some issues with. You can see which needle is it. You can see. I don't know if you can see actually, but that this one here. It actually got a little it's almost stained looking from some yarn that I was using one time, so that was a little disappointing. But yeah, so that was that problem. But so when I got them, they were, I'll show you the other one. That this one I've only used once down here. This one I've used a bunch, but they do darken a little bit of time, just like with the oils of your hands or your fingers or whatever, and you know, just with use, and it's fine. Now these are smooth. These are smooth. A little slick. Like I said, they've been basically oiled with, you know, the oils from your fingers, from your skin. They are engraved, as I showed. I'm sorry. They are engraved, and it's a smooth engraving, and no snagging issues whatsoever. My favorite bamboo knitting needles are the Clover brands, but they are a little pricey, especially if you're starting out. But quite frankly, I think that they're worth it, because I have not had any problems with this brand of knitting needles. So I just wanted to show you sort of what makes them different. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the cheaper bamboo knitting needles, the circular knitting needles, to show you the difference in the cable or the wire or the tube or whatever. So yeah, but I'm trying to show you the join on this, which hopefully it'll focus. I think my wedding ring is making it do weird stuff. Okay, so you can see, I think, that the join is it's a very smooth join. It just comes up a little bit on the bamboo needle just at the very end, and then it tapers down, which I know is kind of hard to see, but it does taper down. And yeah, so it's nice. It's a solid piece of plastic. Now when you buy them, they come like this. They come all wrapped up. Sorry about the noise. And they're like this. They have a little bit of memory in them, obviously, but that's how this one started out too. But I've used it so many times that it just eventually stays open, and so that's what'll happen to this one. Like I said before, I've only actually bought this, or I've only used this once. I bought it for a specific hat I was making that I needed the 13s. So anyway, so let's compare the coloring. So you can see this is light, and this is what they start out as, and then see how it's darker. I've got this paper behind there because I figured it probably wouldn't be easy to see it over, you know, the wood of the table. But anyway, so that's what they start out as, and they sort of patina over time, and it's nice. Yeah, so there you go. Like I mentioned before, the Clovers are my favorite to use. I really like the joins. I've not had any problems with them. The cables on some of the cheap ones, like that you get a set for like 25 bucks or whatever. The cables are actually, they look like, oh, like that tubing that you use for like a fish tank. Like when you're setting up like your little air filtration system for your fish tank. I've only had a fish tank once in my life, so yeah. That fish did not end up well, I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, but like it's squishy. You know, there's like it's hollow, and it sort of goes over this, but it doesn't taper. So I think I saw someone talking about some that she bought some. I think it was Margaret Olander. I'll put a link in her to her channel because I'm pretty sure it was her. And I'll try to find that video and I'll just link it. But anyway, I think she was saying that she was having problems with the tube, or maybe it might have been someone else. I don't know. I'll make a note of it. Anyway, I've never had a problem like that with the Clovers, and quite frankly, that's the reason that I don't own the inexpensive ones, is because of that cable issue. Because I like bamboo needles. I once they are like sort of broken, they are one of my favorite needles to use. And I can use them even on a yarn that's a little catchier than, you know, than like just a regular slick yarn or whatever. Alright, so that's all I really have to say about bamboo knitting needles. Oh, I will say that there are other brands of knitting needles, and I wanted to mention about the tips on these double points, or on the other ones. They're the style that I like. The larger sizes on these double points are a little more blunt than I would maybe prefer, but I've had no problems using them, so I guess that's just like in my mind I sort of want them to do something, or want them to look a certain way, but they work fine without it. Alright, yeah, so I think I've talked about bamboo knitting needles enough. Let me know what you think. Do you guys like knitting with bamboo needles, or do you prefer like metal ones, or do you like the there are some wood knitting needles that are they're like laminated, I guess, like they've got like a coating on them of, you know, like slick laminate type material, and those are, you know, those are nice too. So just let me know what you all think. Let me know if you're interested in the links to this particular, the needles that I'm using. Like I said, I don't have the ones for this because they don't sell them anymore, but I can put links down in the description box if you're interested. Not affiliate links or anything like that, but just, you know, brand links or whatever. Yeah, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!